Conscious collaboration brings together entrepreneurs, change makers, and thought leaders. We aim to highlight the people that embody the idea of aligned mind, body, and business. Each week, we share, discuss, and learn from the various experiences and ideas of our guest experts. Through our discovery, we find a path to an aligned mind, body, and business.
Hi, I'm Lisa.
And I'm Emily. And we are the Conscious Collaboration Podcast. What up, Lisa?
Everything's up.
Bro, everything and nothing all at the same time, huh?
What to do?
It's like 2025. 2025 is not playing around.
It's coming in hot and yet like a slog at the same time.
And it also extremely cold. Funny that you say that, as it's blizzarding in New Orleans at the time of this recording. And it is just the most bizarre thing to see.
Palm trees and snowflakes.
And in Florida too, I think it is. I think it's blizzarding in Tallahassee. I just haven't seen the video. So shit's wild right now, man. And of course, we know what's going on in California, and then just
it's overwhelming.
It's a lot, and we're gonna be all right, y'all. But so maybe that's a good segue into what we've decided to talk about today. I think because of I don't even want to call it heavy. It doesn't, to me, have the same, although, I mean, okay, you could argue that a lot of what has transpired thus far, it is very heavy, but I mean, it's not the same to me feeling as like the heaviness of a lot of 2024. But it's definitely, to me, very intense. But it gives me almost more of like a manic feeling than just heavy and depleted. So I don't know. I don't know fully what to make of that yet, but where the place that I'm coming to on a personal level with dealing with all the different things that are going on right now, and not just the weather. The weather is just a very blatant like representation of energy, right? But I mean, I think everybody's dealing with this to some degree in their personal life and on every level, all the way up to global and weather and what have you. So where I've come to in just kind of the message to hold on to and how to handle all this and move through all this right now is this. There's two different versions of this. One of them comes from Steve, of course. And one of them comes from
Carrie. Yeah.
Steve loves tarot. Yeah, if you're a longtime listener, you've probably heard the Steve references in most episodes, 90% of our episodes. But if not, check out Steve's Love Tarot on YouTube. Don't knock it till you try it, okay? Even if you don't need no kind of love information, just listen to the guy. Listen to what he has to say. He's like the best, funniest guru you'll ever meet. At any rate, the Steve version is if you don't know what to say, don't say anything. Just not right now. Like, don't say anything until you know what to say. And the other version of it, which I'm kind of operating off of right now, comes from a friend of mine and spiritual mentor. And that is, if you don't know what to do, don't do anything right now. And there's a caveat to that. Don't do nothing. Do what feels good, whatever that could mean. But in terms of paths forward and big decisions and things of that nature, like if you don't know what to do, don't do anything. Pause, not forever, but pause This is like a stopgap energy. And, allow yourself and your consciousness to feel the push in the right direction, the best path forward for the highest good. Feel the push. So pause, don't do anything, pause and feel the push. And I think part of the reason for that, going back to another Steve-ism, the mind is loud. And the mind, and this is not to say that the mind and the ego are inherently or all bad, not by any means. They're there to protect us. But the mind, which is connected to the ego, is very loud. And if you're just, listen, like he also says, don't think about anything for too long. You'll find too many reasons not to do it. And that's the mind. That's the ego. That's not the intuition. So if you're constantly taking action and pushing forward, then especially when it's time for a big decision and you need to take action, but you don't know what to do, then in order to really tune in to that intuition, that push in the best direction forward of the most highest good has to come from silence, basically. The intuition is quiet, subtle.
I think this is like the tale as old as time, like that I'm seeing in my mind is like you're presented with 3 or 5 doors in front of you.
Immediately got just a Disney.
Yeah, it's never ending.
That's long. Tale as old as time.
Tale as old as time. Anyway,
Therapy
doors
DJ.
are presented,
Okay.
and the person that runs to the door to get to the other side. There's also horror movies that have these also, and I watch so many movies and read so many books that I can't, tell you which one. But actually, there was a Korean one I saw. Anyway, besides the point, don't watch that.
Mind you, if you're in an actual horror movie, don't pause. Don't pause. Go.
Well, I think you should let someone else go first.
Don't be like a Michael Myers victim and just
yes, you
could have run.
Based on the scenario, you're in a room and there's doors presented to you, and sometimes they have pretty what is it? The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, I think, had this scenario too. Which one takes you home? Alice in Wonderland has another.
Mm-hmm.
One of the doors is going to take you home. One of it's going to take you to certain death. And one of them is going to take you to another world that you've never been to. And the person that runs sloppily and hastily to the door is the one that gets eaten by the tiger or falls into the abyss. But when you carefully step back and assess each of the doors, wait, that doorknob's a little bit different. It has a symbol on it. Indiana Jones is another one. But, when you assess these doors, that one looks pretty out of all of them. But there's one that looks like a shack door. And perhaps that's so when you sit and you analyze how are the appearances of these doors that you must choose, rather than hastily and sloppily running to one of them to make the quickest decision to get to safety. You're setting yourself up surely taking the one that kills you.
Yes, and I'm going to challenge that a little bit further and say, because at least for me personally, a lot of the gravity of it is to take the analyzing bit out of it, to really tune into that, I almost said nutrition, to really tune into that intuition. I think I'm just hungry. You got to stop the analysis for a moment, because really, I mean, if you think about it, analysis is kind of is action or forward movement too. Is thinking.
I think maybe
moderated, is ego moderated, but
the energy of the snake, it's observation rather than analyze. It's the observation to know when to move forward and not even to strike. But your sense, a snake is going to, because it's in the dark, maybe perhaps a brush or under the ground or whatever, is has different pathways to choose. And I'm talking about this because we're coming up on the Chinese year of the yin snake. But you can feel rumblings, you can hear, you can smell, you can see different glimpses of life, but you're observing. You're not just going, I see an opening and it's going to get me to the top and, go brazenly forward to it, and it's a trap.
Yeah, well, and I think too, just to like pause and even just almost remove yourself from it. Like there was the aspect of this too that was like, don't don't become stagnant, right? That's never what we want, either physically or energetically, but do what feels good, regardless of whether it has anything to do with the, situations at hand or not, but to positively, try to put yourself, and this could be a million different things. For me yesterday in particular, I lifted weights for 2 straight hours and felt amazing. I had the best workout I have had in as long as I can remember. It was incredible. And it was just like, because the intensity of things was so overwhelming, and even trying to look at some of the things at the moment was so much. It was like, just to be able to, tune into what just feels good. Because if I sit still right now, then the thoughts are just gonna, come taking over. So I was like, what feels good? So for me, is lifting weights. For anybody else, it could be a million different things, but to be able to get yourself into that flow state that we talked about a few episodes ago, or maybe it's been longer than I'm thinking, but to kind of get yourself into that flow state, to be able to, again, just like tap into that intuition where you can hear and feel not what your mind thinks and what because again, your brain, your mind is just trying to protect you. It's good to have a good mind that can protect you. You will need to access that in certain situations, but I don't know, in these kind of cases, it's like it can be more to your detriment almost. So you just got to do something. I guess that's that, get out of your mind, get into your body. I was grateful to have that tool yesterday, to be able to. So hopefully that what that translates to, because I'm still actively in the thick of this, but hopefully what that translates to is then over these next few days, really being able to clear up the excess and be able to tune into that intuition for myself and know which direction I'm being pushed in.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a case of like practicing what we preach and what we talk about to each other and in our inner circle. I mean, this is a type of information that we hope to offer to our listeners and to our collective. And our alignment guide is not about doing overarching sweeps or like SWOT analysis or it's not about that. It's not about getting into your head, but I'm sure there's some wisdom and knowledge and experience that you want to access at some component, but you're not abandoning your body. You're not abandoning what you see in your environment. In fact, I think you said to me offline before we got started is a lot of what you're doing is clearing the way so that you can have a better sense of the opportunities that might be right in front of you.
Yeah, and not only am I not abandoning my body, I'm utilizing what it's, I've trained it to do as a channel for energy that could otherwise be considered very negative or have not ideal outcomes. Energy that would, I think, if I were to just kind of sit there, turn into just those toxic, thought spirals that just don't help to get you any closer to an answer. You're just kind of confirming your own biases and concerns and coming up and catastrophizing and coming up with worst case. And so, right. I was definitely not taking care of my body and not abandoning my body, but now utilizing like, hey, like this is what we've been training for. Like, let's do something with this, and let's maybe get myself into a state. And that doesn't mean, okay, because there is a certain faction of people who will take this and go into like punishment mode. That's not what I'm talking about here. Like work yourself out so hard that you're hurting or, whatever. That's not what I mean. Don't do that. But still using my reasonable judgment as to what my limits are, but really using that channel of the weightlifting and the strength training to be able to put my mind in a better place to move forward with clarity.
So I want to say, like, and I know we weren't planning on pulling I Ching, but I was anyway. And I know this isn't a personal session. Like, I think this resonates with a lot of people, tends to.
I hope so.
The intention of our podcast is our own personal experiences and connections resonates, and in a collaborative way to help align our mind, body, and business. But what I pulled from the I Ching and what the energy is right now is hexagram 18, and that's repairing the damage. And see, it's like fire burned down this hillside. Says so much.
I've never seen that one.
You haven't? Oh, I don't know that we've had it on the podcast. I've seen it a few times, but it resonates with me on so many levels. I mean, it's very pertinent to your personal experience, but to the U.S. and particularly, and also the world. This looks like, I know this isn't the landscape of Palisades or where there's major fires happening, but it's
fire
also
in the sky and mountains.
It's also like representative of the fire leaving in the wake of the Year of the Dragon leaving. And so it's burning to make room for new beginnings in some sense. And I'm not an expert in Chinese astrology. Like I said, I'm just deeply connected to it within the Feng Shui Guild. But I do get a sense of, repairing the damage. I think in this sense means like regrowth, on a clear
building muscle.
Building muscle. Yeah. Changing of systems again. We're going into the year of the snake, the yin snake, which is more, I'm a fire snake, which is a little bit different. But so it says in this energy, when something is rotting, it's time to repair the damage. In the world of human affairs, self-indulgence and corruption grow like weeds in an unattended garden. They must be faced squarely and rooted out through bold action. This is a time to be lean and efficient. The weeds must be rooted out before the whole garden is lost. Fighting decay, indifference, and corruption is not just a simple matter. All steps must be evaluated carefully, and planning should precede action. So before taking significant action, there's some sort of what we're talking about in terms of intuitively sensing into really just assessing in a higher level observatory way before you make any type of action. And I like that it mentions indifference. Doing things out of indifference is not helping anybody. When you do act, pay close attention to the process. Make your strike as precise and clear as the path of a surgeon's knife. So I don't know if that speaks to you or to anybody, but I do kind of see that in the card, represented in that, like the fire in the sky is very pertinent to the time and of the year and the changing. And I think Chinese New Year this year is usually around February 3rd, give or take. But anyway, just like with any kind of astrology, there's a shadow effect as things transition. So a lot is happening right now to set up the energy of the year. And it's not something that needs to guide your decisions, but just something to be aware of. And it talks about stopping to let the world go by as you cultivate your personal growth is of great value, not only to you, but ultimately to others as well. Just remember that when withdrawing from the events, it is essential to avoid falling into the trap of sitting idly by and criticizing the actions of others. Now is the time to focus on what you can do to evolve. So if you're unplugging, in a sense, focusing your energy in working out, or maybe it's focusing your energy in making clay bowls or sketching, I don't know, or just wiping your calendar to take a hike for the day, is to not look outward at other people for getting caught up in a grind culture and making bad decisions, but to focus on your own self and where you're evolving, which I think is
And look, I think that's super applicable, like, to just everybody right now, because, there are a lot of people who are, just really unhappy with the state of things right now in a lot of ways. And the temptation for a lot of people is to turn to the keyboard and, just further emphasize and underscore the negative and the potential negatives rather than doing that, because there are just elements that are just out of people's hands. Okay. I think you can apply this to many different situations, but y'all know which situation I'm talking about. Okay.
I didn't until you said it that way. Just so you know, I was thinking of other things.
Yeah. Well, good. I think it should be applied to other things. But it's the turn to the keyboard piece of it, right? Like, let's anyway, what is going to be just being pragmatic about it? Like, what is going to create outcomes for the higher good for everybody around you? Is it going to be going to that keyboard and saying how much you can't stand XYZ outcome and why it's dangerous and why it's this and why it's that? Is that really going to do anything productive either for the world or for yourself, just on a personal and soul growth level? So much as if you were to do any of those examples you just listed off, anything in this whole world that you could deem valuable to your personal growth trajectory. And then what it may be, the most minuscule seeming little thing, but if you improve upon yourself in that way, you water your own garden. I think there was something about a dry garden in that I Ching reading you just did, or maybe it was something you just
Yeah, I mean, it was about like weeding out the garden. It's time to be lean and efficient, get rid of the decay and corruption.
Yeah. So, and it was talking about in yourself. In yourself. Stop projecting out what is wrong with everything else that's happening. And it is cliche as it may sound, the only thing you can control here is how you are showing up in the world. And maybe, do you express yourself, do what you need to do, but maybe putting that energy into the keyboard instead of taking the pottery class or whatever it is. Look at the butterfly effect from one to the other. And where could you really potentially achieve, like, spreading the most positive energy. I'm just going to give it that simplistic woo-woo visual. Where could you have the most positive outcome on? Because is that what, by being upset about what you're upset about, isn't what you want ultimately what you view to be a positive outcome? And that's why you're upset about these things. So, okay, where can I improve me to start creating positive outcomes in my little world? And, that's the good kind of butterfly or snowball effect that could create more positive outcomes. No, maybe it won't directly change, some global issue that you're deeply connected with, but it'll start to change how you feel.
I mean, positivity spreads, and so does, contamination or like negative
growth. Even if you don't want to take it to that kittens and sunshine, positivity. But I think positivity is good. Like toxic anything is not good by the nature of the phrase.
Extreme of anything.
But to infuse some positivity, even in a really, take this from an ICU nurse, like you will be in the thick of the darkness and the worst of humanity and just get lost in the soup if you don't insert some humor into it.
Yeah, I mean, humor can be the strongest sword.
That's positivity in my view. Even
absolutely. Like
if you make somebody laugh.
Levity in the situation is really excellent. I think there's a lot to be said in repairing the damage within our own selves and focusing on that and knowing that we're choosing to take time to step back, and you can use any other word but observe, like in patience. When you're meditating, you're observing your own inner world. But it's like, okay, to do that, like not in a punishing way, but I'm dedicating this to observe, which, what is happening to help indicate where I should go next, besides thinking that doing 100 things all at one time that society or culture or your coworkers or people that are doing, to think that's going to get you to where you need to be successful is probably going to be sloppy and be the door that sets you back or takes you back or an abyss. So I think this is really pertinent to our discussion, and I was just casually kind of pulling these to see, because I was curious if like the collective energy is similar to what we've been talking about before we hit record. And I think it is, because I think everybody wants to do right, and I think everybody has I want to give people the benefit of the doubt. People have good intentions and they want to be virtuous and do good things. But also, people want to live and to have freedom and to not feel the immense pressure of the world that we're seeing people suffering right now. Like, I just want to say, this is off topic, on topic, I think. I'm really glad I wasn't ever on Twitter. Like, I think I had one tweet out ever.
Me neither.
I don't know how to close my account, so it's out there forever. But when that went off, and then everybody went to...
Was it Twitter or TikTok?
I'm sorry, TikTok.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry, that's how far we need.
One of them, so...
So when TikTok went down and everybody jumped ship and they went to one of the other 7 Chinese apps there are out there, and everyone was like, oh, that's so scandalous that you're jumping ship and going to another Chinese made app. And well, it turns out all these apps have all the Chinese youth on it, all like the Gen Zers and, and alphas are on there. And people started to make genuine connections with like these Chinese youth. And they were such good, like they were helping people learn how to use the platforms. And they showed like genuine concern for the people that over here in the US, the small, businesses that were surviving off of TikTok and that type of thing. And to hear like people sharing their experiences, like here, it's almost like, oh, don't talk to China, keep all that separate or whatever. But when the actual people connected and they were like the same, they're like, hey, we'll help you. We're going to help you set up your account so you can keep your business going. And also, we can't believe that you live in a world where fill in the blank is happening.
Well, it's always the governments who are actually beefing, right? It's not the people.
Exactly. It's not the
People are just people.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But I think it's just in that frame of reference, we also think in such a micro focused, just we're so focused on ourselves and like what our problems are and what we understand it to be versus like globally, getting, and I know everybody has global businesses now because everybody's online and so on and so forth, but just having that higher level perspective and view of what's going on and what the possibilities are. And I think it's very valuable. It was like a day of collecting information in a highly pressured situation for people. I didn't feel that pressure because I don't rely heavily on social media. But a lot of people do.
I think, well, just a side note as an entrepreneur and a small business owner to consider, I mean, I think that underscores the importance of, if you want to build resilience in your business, don't structure it in a way that relies so heavily on something that you don't own.
Yeah, it's so true.
They can flip the switch and all your stuff can be gone.
Anything online. I mean, to have various representations in all the different places online is good. It's better than having one perfect place that you spend all your energy on. But still, one day that could all be pulled the plug on
Utilize
too.
it, but don't make it the crux of your business because that's what you risk.
And we could go back to party lines on the phone one day. We don't know. Internet could go down. You're too young.
Yeah.
Were you too young for party lines? I was just talking about that with friends.
Well, I started thinking like dirty stuff, like
no party lines. They weren't dirty. It was when I was under 10. They had an option because it was so expensive to have a phone line. For a reduced price, you could share a phone line with other people. And so that meant like if I wanted to make a phone call and I picked up the phone, someone else could be on the phone. Well, I couldn't make my phone call then. I had to wait until they were off the phone. And there wouldn't be someone in your house.
No, I never even had that.
Sometimes you could pick up the phone. And I don't know if that's directly party line because I think then they marketed it as like a hangout kind of thing, kind of like what social media is, but on the phone. Like you could have like an adult chat or whatever if you wanted. It could be a party. But there was just shared phone lines at one point to reduce the cost. Like a co-op.
I don't miss that.
Harking back to the days. I don't know how relevant that is. But other than that, systems can change and things are always changing at any time. So we have to get real creative. And if that means when times get tough, we have to create something out of nothing. Based on collaborations or resourcefulness, we do that.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't we just talk about last week, asking for help within a group in terms of collaborations and being very intentional about that?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think
so.
I think that just still carries over into today too. I mean, we, especially you and I, with what we believe in consciously collaborating together, even seemingly unsimilar businesses such as yours and mine have a common thread that can help each other.
For sure.
But you wouldn't know that unless you were being really transparent and vulnerable, or like sharing your ideas, or what can we do? Or we started a podcast. There's
For sure.
always something to be done.
Mm-hmm.
So attention to detail coming out of repairing the damage. So I think attention to detail means intentional detail. Right?
Once you've tuned in and you know what the intuition is saying, yeah.
Yep. So drink your cacao, open up that third eye. Tip of the day. Just drinking cacao all day. Let's shout out from a cat. But I don't know. I am, a lot of what we're talking about resonates with me too. Like, in terms of, I work with a lot of creative projects. Of course, I always have to sustain the business and do the boring stuff too, like taxes and invoices and the onboarding and that type of stuff. And I have to do that, but it almost feels like detrimental, or I do have to do things all over again if I don't do them when I'm really honed in, or I'm really showing up intentionally. So it's like, for me, and I know it might be different for everybody, but because I come from a more spiritual based business, like I make it kind of like ceremonial, light the candle or incense or whatever. This is what I'm showing up for. And this is where, and like, I just really zone in there. And if I just try to go through the motions or repeat what I did for something else, it doesn't come out the same way, and end up having to redo it, or I'm not happy with it.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. It's also a challenge, so it's interesting.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, what do you say we take it in the collective?
Yeah, let's continue it inside there. And I really like what we have going on with our alignment guide. So more to come on that. And I have leaked that out to different people. Shout out to Rachel Weaver out in Colorado with Human Design. She's like, girls, this is amazing. So to get your hands on a copy of that, I think would be really valuable. It's helped me tremendously.
I think it would be a great tool, if you're in the place, in that stopgap place that we're talking about, and you need to take a pause. I think it'd be a really great tool to help you tune in.
Yeah, exactly. Not something you need to do every day, but when you need something to help refocus, you can check with us in the Facebook group, or, crack open that guide there and get back to yourself and listen to your higher self versus looking outside of yourself for all the answers.
Yeah, let us know what y'all think, if we're talking crazy talk, or if you guys are on the same wavelength as us right now. Let us know what you're dealing with right now.
Yes. All right, Emily. Good to see you. Thanks for showing up, guys. We'll talk to you in 5.
Talk to y'all in 5. Bye.
Bye.
Thank y'all so much for listening to our podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends so they can join our circle of collaboration on this journey. You can find us on Instagram at Conscious Collaboration Podcast, on Spotify, iTunes, and Audible, to name a few. Please join us next time for another deep dive into how you can live life in more alignment, mind, body, and business. Send us your questions and comments in our DMs, or email us at consciouscollaborationpodcast@gmail.com. See you in 5 minutes.